Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Day 2 of Semicon India. The fourth edition of the Showcase Semiconductor event becomes the largest ever so far, with 350 companies from 33 nations. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman leads the 56th GST Council meet. The two-day discussions have begun with high anticipation of rate rationalization and indirect tax reform. And the European Union puts forward the world's biggest trade deal with South American bloc Mercosur for approval by member nations, with reassurance for critics like France that it comes with robust safeguards for farmers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the second day of Semicon India 2025 conference in New Delhi today. The PM visited the Semicon exhibition, witnessing firsthand the process of chip manufacturing, nanochip production and advanced assembly taking shape in India. He also explored the innovations of global leaders including Micron, Delta, Keynes and Lam Research, with industry efforts sharply focused on next generation chips for defense, aerospace and electric vehicles. The fourth edition of Semicon India was inaugurated by the Prime Minister on Tuesday. With over 350 companies from 33 countries, this fourth edition of Semicon India has become the largest ever, drawing a record number of global stakeholders. Now, at the inauguration of Semicon India 2025, Prime Minister Modi was presented with a specially curated memento by Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav. The memento symbolized India's rapidly expanding semiconductor innovation ecosystem. It comprises 33 semiconductor chips, out of which 20 are designed by students from 17 universities, 8 by various institutions and rest 5 by different companies, including one from the pilot facility of CG Semi in Sanand. With these developments, India has sent a strong message to the world about its intent to emerge as a global hub for semiconductor manufacturing and design. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has held talks with the visiting German Foreign Minister Johann David Wadephul in New Delhi. The leaders exchanged views on multilateral cooperation and global issues, including the Ukraine conflict, the situation in West Asia and the Indo-Pacific. They also explored greater collaboration in furthering industry linkages, talent mobility, digital sphere, semiconductors and critical technologies. Dr. Jaishankar highlighted that the bilateral trade between India and Germany reached nearly 50 billion euros last year. Referring to German Foreign Minister's confidence in doubling the trade, Minister Jaishankar assured that India fully reciprocates that sentiment.
Our two-way trade last year was almost 50 billion euros. Minister Wadephul is on record. I saw one of his interviews where he said that he was very confident we will be doubling our trade. Let me assure him that India fully reciprocates that sentiment. It looks forward to working with the government, with the German government. And I want to reiterate that we remain fully committed to continuously improving the ease of doing business in this country. And I assured the minister today that any concerns that German companies may have in India, coming to India, establishing themselves, working here, we would be prepared to give it special attention.
Dr. Jaishankar also appreciated Germany's strong advocacy for closer India-EU ties and proactive push in concluding the FTA.
Our conversations and our negotiations predate anything which has happened this year. It's something which has been going on for multiple years. And it's in our mutual interest that we lower tariffs and we find other ways of expanding our business and economic cooperation. Obviously, in today's climate, those efforts acquire a greater urgency. I mean, that's quite apparent. But it is an ongoing conversation, and I share the minister's desire, and in a way, I would even say optimism that we would like now the FTA negotiations. We hope that another round takes place fairly soon. We would like this to move to a decisive conclusion in the coming days, and we believe that this would be in our mutual interest. It will help stabilize the global economy. It will be a big factor there. It will be a kind of one of the elements of a ballast which today the world economy really needs.
Further, the External Affairs Minister said India greatly values the understanding that Germany has shown in the country's fight against terrorism.
Greatly value the understanding that Germany has shown with regard to India's fight against terrorism. Minister Wadapul has himself been explicit about our right to defend our people against terrorist attacks. Our parliamentary delegation that visited Germany in June after Operation Sindhu was also warmly received.
And on his part, German Foreign Minister Johann David Wadapul said that his country strongly supports India's free trade agreement with the European Union. He also expressed hope that talks will conclude before the end of this year.
Germany strongly supports the EU-India free trade agreement, and we hope that this can be speedily negotiated so that it can be concluded before the end of this year, in autumn this year, and hopefully lead to a ratification process.
Earlier, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal co-chaired a meeting with the business delegations from India and Germany along with Germany's Foreign Minister. The leaders discussed strengthening trade facilitation, regulatory frameworks and market access, and also explored avenues of collaboration in defense, space, innovation and automobiles, underscoring the vast potential of the partnership. Now, the 56th GST Council meeting led by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has begun in New Delhi today. The two-day council meet brings high expectations for rate rationalization, potentially eliminating the 12% and 28% GST slabs in favor of 18% and 5% structure with a 40% slab for sin goods. According to the centre's plan, 99% of items currently under the 12% slab will be shifted to 5%, while 90% of the items taxed at 28% will move to 18%. Only a handful of luxury and demerit goods will be subject to the proposed 40% rate. Now, the centre's proposal for GST reforms is based on 3 pillars. Pillar 1 is of structural reforms involving inverted duty correction, resolution of classification issues and ensuring stability and predictability. Pillar 2 involves rate rationalization by reducing taxes for common use items and aspirational goods, reduction of slabs and subsuming compensation cess. And Pillar 3 is for ease of living by streamlining the process, or rather the processes for registration, returns and refunds. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has defended Deputy PM Angela Rayner in a heated parliamentary session on Wednesday, saying she had gone above and beyond in disclosing personal details, including seeking a court order to lift confidentiality around her son Rayner, which has been under scrutiny after admitting to underpaying property tax on a flat in Hove, and has referred herself to the ministerial standards watchdog. On rising borrowing costs, Starmer said there was a global trend and reaffirmed his government's commitment to strict fiscal rules while criticizing the opposition for past economic mismanagement.
Prime Minister, she has explained her personal circumstances in detail. She's gone over and above in setting out the details, including, Mr. Speaker, yesterday afternoon, asking a court to lift a confidentiality order in relation to her own son. I know from speaking at length with the Deputy Prime Minister just how difficult that decision was for her and her family. Mr. Speaker, on the question of borrowing costs, they have risen across the world, as the Leader of the Opposition well knows. We are driving them down by getting debt down. That is hardwired into our fiscal rules. Those fiscal rules are non-negotiable.
The European Commission on Wednesday formally presented the EU-Mercosur trade deal for approval by member states, describing it as a major step to open markets and reduce reliance on US trade amid global tensions. The agreement with Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay and Uruguay, 25 years in the making, would create the world's largest free trade area, covering 700 million people. The deal includes significant tariff reductions on EU exports like cars and wine, and grants Mercosur countries greater access to the EU market for agricultural goods. France and others raised concerns about threats to EU farmers, prompting the Commission to include robust safeguards and a €1 billion reserve to support affected producers.
The Commission put forward proposals today for new deals with Mercosur and Mexico. Mercosur will be the EU's biggest trade deal to date, a free trade area with 700 million customers. This is a key trade pact and strategic step for European global influence.
US President Donald Trump has accused Chinese President Xi Jinping of conspiring against the US with the leaders of Russia and North Korea. Trump's comments came as China hosted world leaders at its largest ever Victory Day parade in Beijing on Wednesday. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote, and I quote, "Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America." In response to Trump's remarks, the Kremlin said that Vladimir Putin was not conspiring with China's Xi Jinping and North Korea's Kim Jong-un against the United States. Kremlin foreign policy aide suggested that perhaps President Trump was being ironic with his criticism. And Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday thanked North Korea's Kim Jong-un for helping Russia oust Ukrainian soldiers from the Kursk region, saying they fought heroically. In a meeting with Kim in Beijing, Putin also praised their country's trust and friendship and said that sending the troops was the North Korean leader's idea. North Korea has become one of Russia's main allies since Moscow attacked Ukraine 3.5 years ago, sending thousands of soldiers and container loads of weapons to help the Kremlin push Ukrainian forces out of western Russia following Kyiv's shock incursion last year. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has arrived in Denmark on Wednesday to participate in a meeting with Nordic and Baltic leaders. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen will host the meeting in Copenhagen. Zelensky is expected to press for stronger pressure on Moscow after Russian forces launched a sweeping air attack on Ukraine and its capital Kyiv, in fact, overnight, damaging energy and transport infrastructure. He is also planning to have bilateral meetings with France, later on Wednesday.
And now we see another build-up of Russian forces in certain sectors of the front. Only he refuses in any way to be forced into peace. Russia continues to launch strikes. Of course, we will respond to this. Respond asymmetrically, in particular so that Russia clearly feels the consequences of its brazenness. And we continue to work with partners to increase pressure on Russia, and this will happen. Russia hears nothing but force and will continue lying until its losses are strong enough.
And NATO Chief Mark Rutte said on Wednesday that he expects talks between European leaders in Paris to firm up plans on security guarantees for Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will co-host Thursday's virtual meeting of leaders of mainly European allies who've been working on security guarantees for Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will attend the talks in Paris. European leaders have made clear such a force will be feasible only with US support. US President Trump has promised this last month, but Washington is yet to spell out what it's willing to contribute. An International Monetary Fund mission has begun work in Ukraine as Kyiv scrambles to plug a widening wartime budget gap for next year. With military spending soaring as the conflict grinds on, the financial shortfall is only deepening. Ukraine already has a 4-year, $15.5 billion lending program with the IMF, under which it has received more than $10 billion so far. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong on his first visit to India will meet Prime Minister Modi on Thursday. And in sports, Ugandan stars Cheptegei and Kiplimo to miss World Athletics Championships in Tokyo.
We're always on the move, to the market, to work, to meet our friends. But how often do we stop and think about, is there a cleaner, affordable and eco-friendly way to travel?
Since switching to this e-rickshaw, I feel so much better. Everything is easier with this battery-powered rickshaw.
Our research is focused on a less mature technology, which will be less costly, so it'll be more economically viable.
If you plant new saplings, they'll take 10 years to grow. When we replant the trees, we are also retaining the oxygen the trees provide and preserving greenery.
My dream would be to have a play street / parklet, so we could have the parklet for some adults and some refreshments, and then everyone could come and kids could be playing.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, President Draupadi Murmu attended the 10th convocation of the Central University of Tamil Nadu in Tiruvarur on Wednesday. A total of 1,010 students graduated this year, including 568 women and 442 men. Among them, 771 received their degrees in person across various programs. The President awarded gold medals to 45 top-ranking students and degrees to 44 PhD holders. Praising the university's role in rural education, she encouraged stronger industry collaboration to harness science and technology for greater good.
Education must be oriented towards the benefit of the society. In this context, I will also urge you to collaborate with the industry to make use of science and technology for the larger good of humanity, particularly enriching nature and ecology. This university has been making praiseworthy efforts to widen the net of extension education in rural areas of Tamil Nadu. This is a very good initiative.
Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong is in India on a 3-day official visit. This is Prime Minister Wong's first visit to India in his capacity as Singapore's chief political executive. Earlier today, the visiting dignitary paid tributes to Mahatma Gandhi by laying a wreath at his memorial at Rajghat. Now, the Singaporean Prime Minister is scheduled to hold talks with Prime Minister Modi on Thursday. The two leaders will review the robust and multifaceted cooperation between India and Singapore and set the path for future collaboration. They will also engage on regional and international issues. The Singapore leader will also call on President Draupadi Murmu during the course of his visit. Singapore is an important partner for India, including in the Act East policy, and bilateral ties between the two nations were elevated to the comprehensive strategic partnership during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Singapore in September last year. As India and Singapore celebrate 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations, Prime Minister Wong's visit is aimed at further strengthening comprehensive strategic partnership between the two nations. Also during his visit to India, the Singaporean Prime Minister has met with Confederation of Indian Industry Core Group on Wednesday. Taking to microblogging site X, Prime Minister Wong said that Singapore's confidence in India is built on consistent actions and a strong track record, adding that Singapore has been India's largest foreign investor for the past 7 years and top trading partner in ASEAN. Leaders discussed how companies on both sides can deepen cooperation in areas such as AI, biotech, green energy and semiconductors. And Union Health Minister also met with Singapore's Prime Minister in New Delhi as part of the No BJP initiative. The two leaders had a meaningful exchange on strengthening party-to-party relations and institutionalizing delegation-level interactions. Also exchanged views on expanding collaboration in healthcare and reaffirmed the shared commitment to work together in advancing the well-being and prosperity of the people of the two nations. The minister also highlighted the BJP's ideology, its organizational model and its role in driving India's development journey. Let's talk about sports now. Director General of Bihar State Sports Authority, Ravindran Sankaran, believes that the Hockey Asia Cup in Bihar has been instrumental in reviving the state's rich sporting legacy. In an exclusive interview with DD India, Ravindran highlighted that the past decade has witnessed a significant boost in sports in Bihar thanks to the effective collaboration between the central and state governments.
Now we have with us Bihar State Sports Directorate General Ravindran Sankaran with us. Let's talk to him and try to know that how this Rajgir is developing in sports. So if we talk about especially about Rajgir, how this is developing in sports and in which sectors do you really think that now government has to more come forward?
Government of Bihar under the leadership of Shri Nitish Kumar ji has done so much for the sports in the past 4 years, whether it is sports infrastructure development, training, talent scouting or sports recruitment. Sir has done so many works in this field. I am seeing the future of Bihar sports in next 5 years to be one of the top 5 states in India to be the super powerhouse of sports.
If we talk about the schemes of Bihar government, just like medal law, Naukri Pao, what you would like to say about that?
This policy is a wonderful policy brought by our Chief Minister, Mr. Nitish Kumar. By announcing this and by implementing this, many sports persons winning national medals and international medals are able to get recruitments within 3 months' time of getting their medals. So this is a huge step towards the development of sports and athlete welfare.
You always talk about that we have to prove that Bihar, it should be a clear mandate comes from Bihar that it's a sports movement should be over here. So if we talk about these infrastructure, how much these infrastructures are helping in this movement?
For sports development and sports to become to take as the shape of a movement, not only sports infrastructure, but the training, the scouting, everything involved in the entire sports ecosystem has to come together and develop. Then only it will take a revolutionary movement. Sports infrastructure, not only in Rajgir, it is going to be developed in various parts of Bihar, especially in 9 commissionerates, multi-purpose indoor sports complex and block level mini stadiums, and har panchayat level collaborating with Manrega scheme, many playgrounds are also being constructed. So in 5 years you can see everywhere boys, girls and everybody playing different types of games.
So this is Ravindran Sankaran who is saying that Bihar has grown up in a good manner, and he's also expecting that in coming days these facilities will elaborate in each and every city of Bihar. With cameraman Saurabh Bakshi, this is Gaurav Kumar reporting from Rajgir, Bihar, DD India.
Uganda's half-marathon world record holder Jacob Kiplimo, Kiplimo and double Olympic champion Joshua Cheptegei will miss this month's World Athletics Championship in Tokyo because of personal reasons. Kiplimo became the first person to run the half-marathon in under 57 minutes when he set a stunning world record of 56 minutes, 42 seconds in Barcelona this year. Cheptegei won gold in the 5,000 meters at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021 and in the 10,000 meters at last year's Paris Games. But he finished 9th in Tokyo Marathon in March this year. Austrian athlete Peter Salzmann has broken the world speed record for a wingsuit-based jump during a daring flight in Switzerland on the 19th of August. The Salzburg native reached a top speed of 347 km per hour after around 20 seconds. He was in free fall for 35 seconds until he reached the landing point at 1,640 meters. The previous world speed record for a wingsuit-based jump was 340 km per hour. A tracker was integrated into his wingsuit and a radar gun was used to accurately measure all data, including speed. Saltzman worked with manufacturers on different suits for the stunt and wore a specially designed aerodynamic helmet to reach the record-breaking mark. That's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen and download the app. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.